Hey y'all, this is Southern Woods here. Welcome back to another Ages of Conflict War simulation. The year is 1900 in our own timeline. These are the differences in the map. For one, Puerto Rico has been founded or established, so welcome Puerto Rico. And then we have some U.S. states also being founded. Idaho, Wyoming, Utah. And one of my favorite things about this journey we've been on is me slowly filling in this map from scratch. I mean, look how disproportionate and funky these states are. My apologies if I did any of these states dirty, but hey, I'm just going with the flow here. And then Yucatan and St. Pierre are also new on the map. So, place your bets below. Who do you think is going to win in the 20th century? We only have a few more episodes left. Let's see who wins this one. The first battles and alliances. The first battle is going to be between Haiti and Cuba, it looks like. The Sioux have been the first to be taken out, one of the few tribes left. Followed by Virginia as Mississippi? How does Mississippi have... How did that happen? I have no idea. I'm telling you, some funky stuff is happening in these simulations recently. I don't know how Mississippi took control of Virginia. Kentucky fell to Indiana in a more straightforward invasion. Meanwhile, Ohio was conquered by Michigan, and then Arkansas swooped in and took out, or Arkansas was taken out by the Cherokee. So go Cherokee. More are falling as Nevada, Louisiana, and Wisconsin are next to fall. Nebraska taken out by Colorado. We just had the Navajo taken out by Utah. So we have three tribes left because of the Seminoles. A big one just fell in Montana as Washington takes over there. Idaho going to get most of that though. Manitoba struggling to battle back Greater Canada. We had some rapid fire defeats starting out early in this simulation. It's calming down just a tad right now as Utah stretching out, taking the top portion of Texas. Meanwhile, British Columbia moving against Canada. We just had Klamath fall to the greater U.S. and Missouri and Oregon. So the greater U.S. government putting in hella work right now. Now they have their sights on Idaho, and they're going to take them out. So we have 5 or 6 dubs by the greater U.S., 4 in a row. Now the Cherokee moving into Kansas. North Dakota stretching out long, going into Minnesota territory. Stretching them really thin. Minnesota resonating their capital in this very corner piece. Meanwhile, Greater Canada was taken out, so they have fallen. South Carolina just absorbed by North Carolina. In Minnesota, it looks like they're finally going to fall. They got stretched thin there. Although it seems like every last Minnesotan was a part of that. We just had Georgia fall to the greater U.S. The greater U.S. somehow made some naval invasion in Savannah and took out my great state. I don't know how that happened. Iowa, the next to fall to the U.S. government, which has just been on a tear. Tennessee, Cherokee, next to fall. And it looks like Utah is also going to fall to the greater U.S., which is just, wow. On what a run. Over 10 wins to their name as they take out Alabama next. New York fell to New Jersey. The Battle of the News has been finished. Already we have under 40 nations remaining. Connecticut was absorbed by New Jersey as well. Wyoming's going to be taken out by the U.S. government, who now has their sights set on North Dakota. But North Dakota's gotten pretty large, one of the larger states currently. We'll see how they do. Florida has been split in half by the Seminoles. That's something to take note of. Haiti is now going to war against Puerto Rico and Cuba. And look at this. The Republic of Texas just flooding into Mexican territory. Puerto Rico just fell to Haiti. R.I.P. Puerto Rico. So that's something to keep our eyes on, the Texas-Mexican battle. But we're going to go further up north as Manitoba still surviving. They haven't been able to do too much, but they're alive. Manitoba getting a big dub here as these territories in Canada grow larger. We just had Michigan fall to the greater U.S., which is now taking on so many people. They take out the Seminoles next, and somewhere along the lines, Florida fell, but I didn't catch that. Mississippi also going to fall. Colorado taken out by Kansas. Now the greater U.S. pushing into Texas/Mexican territory. Briefly, I'm going to look at the alliance map. I'm curious about this. The greater U.S. teamed up with Kansas, Illinois, Indiana. We have some eastern states aligned with each other that usually wouldn't be. Quebec and Ontario and St. Pierre are on a team. South Dakota and Manitoba, which is interesting. North Dakota's not part of that. British Columbia and the Northwest Territories and Yucatan are teamed up. And then we have Texas and Mexico also teaming up against the U.S. Because they're setting their differences aside, it seems like. Texas said, I know I took out most of the Mexican territory, but we need to fight the U.S. together here. North Carolina's going to get taken out by Big Brother. Vermont and Massachusetts both fall to New Hampshire, making some moves up in the far northeast. Now the greater U.S. pushing in. They're going to take out Washington, it looks like. Very close. They peace out briefly, but I imagine Washington's days are numbered. And I'm not talking about D.C. South Dakota was taken out by the greater U.S. Now they have their eyes set on North Dakota finally. Peacing out briefly. New Jersey also fell during that sequence. Now the U.S. pushing into Canada as they just overwhelm Manitoba. British Columbia actually going to try to take out these last two U.S. states, and they will. Interesting move by them. Kind of smart if you ask me. Take up their capitals, get some capital. New Hampshire taken out by New Brunswick. And then New Brunswick's going to knock out Quebec, leaving us with 16 remaining. Northwest Territories flooding into northern St. Pierre. Something to keep our eyes on. Mexico was taken out, it looks like probably by Cuba, although I didn't catch that before. The greater U.S. going to take out Maryland and Pennsylvania. I think this is the most dubs a singular nation has had in one of these simulations. I mean, it has to be around 20, maybe over 20 right now. I think previously the most was like North Carolina with 14 or 15 dubs. I will try to go back and count how many the U.S. government has by the end of it. Will they win it all? As 14 remain. Greater U.S. now flooding into the far north, taking out British Columbia. Ontario's going to be split in half shortly. Now the greater U.S. moving into Cuba. They've made landfall into Cuba, and now Cuba has to escape to present-day Dominican Republic, it looks like. New Brunswick falling to St. Pierre. Republic of Texas trying to do what they can. Ontario taken out by the U.S. government. This is insane. We have 10 left. Let's shout out all of these before they fall. Yucatan, Northwest Territories, St. Pierre, Indiana, Illinois, and Kansas and Texas are the final 4 states. The greater U.S. government, and then Cuba barely hanging on. And Cuba just fell, leaving us with 9. Oh, and we have Nova Scotia. I forgot all about Nova Scotia. They were blending in a little bit. Indiana just taken out. St. Pierre and Nova Scotia both taken out. So there's 2 Canadian territories, 3 states, and then the greater U.S. Make that 2 states as Kansas gets absorbed. Uh-oh. Everyone turning on the U.S. now, using all their final resources to try to take out the big bad brother. Northwest Territories leading the march. And the greater U.S. has fallen. Followed by Illinois, leaving us with Yucatan, Northwest Territories, and the Republic of Texas. Didn't the Northwest Territories win last episode? I don't remember. Either that or they made a semi-deep run. Republic of Texas going to get swallowed up, as well as the Yucatan, so Northwest Territories holding on strong, leading a final charge against the U.S. government and ending up winning this simulation in the year 1900. If you like this video, hit me with the like button. If you want to see more of these simulations, outdoor videos, or some of the other content I produce, hit that subscribe button and join the Southern Woods community. If you have your own suggestions, put it in the comments below. And then finally, if you're feeling extra generous and want to see some bonus exclusive content and get some other perks that normal viewers don't have, check out the membership program linked below and join the Southern Woods family. I'm out of here, y'all. Southern Woods out.